things that I think is interesting just reading your bio and hearing your history, you were a former journalist. So can you just talk a little bit about how that's
think of myself as a current
still well for a very
Some people
traditional
might argue that.
a very traditional publication. So can you just talk about how that's sort of helped you or maybe not helped you in this career?
I have a very conventional background.
Yeah.
I was a journalist. I came out to Washington to be a political journalist. I worked at the Washington Post and the Wall Street Journal, maybe two of the most traditional conventional newspapers and two of the most conventional traditional beats, covering the presidency, covering politics. And I wasn't, I guess I've always had an entrepreneurial streak, but I have no background in technology, certainly no background in running a company. And we were just like everyone else. It was 2006, you're looking at all this change swirling about. And, you know, we weren't in mid-2006. We launched this in November, left Washington Post in November of 2006. In June of 2006, I still had probably done one thing online. I was still one of those who believed that the newspaper would still be the dominant platform for years to come. It wasn't until we really started to think about it and talk about it, particularly how good stories could now get into circulation, whether they were on page 8 of the Post or on a different on a website. And we figured, well, what would happen if we just put together a company that had none of the institutional baggage or hurdles, just went out and spent all the money it would take to get all the best journalists, put them in one place, and not have to worry about this. Should it be in the paper? Should it be online? Just do interesting news, just break news, and then utilize technology, which is cable TV has an insatiable appetite for political news. We knew if we broke it, they would cover us. We'd be on TV talking about it. And then the web, it really validates both good and juicy journalism. So if you're getting interesting facts, if you're writing interesting stories, Drudge is going to pick it up, Huffington Post is going to pick it up, it'll get into the Google machine, it'll get on Yahoo, and suddenly you can have an audience that is massively bigger than anything I could ever get at the Washington Post. So while a lot of journalists, sort of clung to this dying past and said, no, I want to be on the front page of the paper, we said, well, screw that. Then you be on the front page of the paper. We're going to actually see if we can do interesting journalism and ride this wave of technology. And to be honest, a lot of it was just, you can believe this, but shithouse luck. It was just, it was timing. We're not prophets. We did not know that the whole media industry was going to collapse. It just happened to collapse right as we
timing.
Left. It's an important point because so much of life is luck. We did not see it coming. We had no foresight whatsoever. We thought this would be cool and someone's paying us to do it. But it just happened to be that the industry crumbled. And then a great PR lesson took hold there in that we never had to spend for any money on PR to this day. We've probably spent, for a company, we have 150 employees, we have 200 soon, we probably spent 50 grand on marketing in our entire, because when we left, because the industry was dying, all the newspapers were suddenly interested in our stories. So they were right, we had, I think to date, the New York Times has probably done 7 stories on us. You can't pay for that kind of advertising. And then what we did is we invested in this woman who's now our chief operating officer, who's just the most amazing woman who runs our company. And her skill was at getting people on TV. She just knew everybody. And so we hired her and paid what it cost to get her over here, and made sure that every time we had a good story that we would get on Face the Nation or get on MSNBC or get on Fox. And under the thinking that if you had to buy an ad, if I'm up there and I'm not making a jerk of myself and I sound like I know what I'm talking about and it says Politico underneath me, we put dollar value in it, millions of dollars in advertising essentially, that was for free just by doing what we wanted to do. So it's not a strategy that's necessarily applicable to lots of others, but I think it worked wonders for us and still does to this day.